Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Benefactor at Chaotic Neutral Games. I'm Simon, your DM for tonight, as we join Rodrigo, Felicia, Nick, Kate, and Corinne with their adventures in Illyria. Don't forget that you can help or indeed hinder. Check out the options in the chat bar below. You can support us in what we are doing by becoming a subscriber or join the chaos by hitting the Discord link and saying hi. We're friendly, honest. So we're just going to go straight into it. We have recently met Magnificent Sunset, a tabaxi who is aka Sloth on the path of the Heart of Duradan. There's lots to learn and lots more to do. So let's go into episode 119 of the Benefactor.
Hi.
Hello, everyone, and hello to our viewers. Confused, Hermit,
Lurkers, anyone.
Lurkers, we love you, Lurkers, too. We love you long time. So, you are in a border fort. In fact, the last one I called the Traveling Tower. And you never got to see why it was traveling because you fucking flew there. So I realized it was a whole part of it. I was just like, nah, whatever. Part of the challenge was supposed to be finding it. Anyway.
We just flew to it.
You fought through some constructs, very strange things, who were in a way kind of baiting you and being vulgar to you, just to ensure that you killed them good and hard because they didn't want to exist anymore. These were constructs that knew they'd gone way past their usefulness. They'd just been stood there. Even the dogs were constructs. And you met the symbol spell a few times. Nick got both barrels of the death rune, and he fell over just for a little while, but everyone got him back up. And eventually you met Hepburn. Hepburn the butler, a construct that ended up sprouting extra arms and started slashing at you with several carving knives. You defeated everybody and eventually went into the bedroom of the very long-lived, very well-written, magnificent Sunset, tabaxi par excellence when it comes to enchantment and conjuration, although mostly weaving together of constructs. And there was things in there for both Corinne and Glory. Well, actually, Eclipse and Glory. Eclipse got her next jar.
Oh wow, that was easy.
Yeah. Oh
It's
well.
my jar now.
We say easy. Phil nearly died.
It hurt.
Fair.
I did a lot
Fair.
of tanking there.
Sorry, fair, but bear in mind that my only experience getting a canoptic jar was the village of the tummy tentacles, and that was a whole fucking ordeal. So
I still love the fact that that's the name.
Yeah.
Inside, Glory was very interested in the work of Magnificent Sunset.
Indeed.
He weaves together spell forms, constructs, a bit like the Unseen Servant, just very much more elaborate. Things that either requires a large amount of time or a large amount of arcane resource to be able to make even one of them. But now that he has made certain blueprints that are easier and faster to follow, making people like the Houndmaster, the Hounds, Hepburn, are all very achievable. You just need a few weeks to make a hound. Hepburn's a little more complex. He did say he was the pinnacle of his particular project. So he would take a full month to make. And I think you guys actually said that you wanted Hepburn back. So
Yeah, I want him back.
yeah. Fair enough. You did notice that they were amoral. That's one thing about them. Hepburn was very polite because he was built to be polite, but he didn't have any problem snapping your necks and pulling your spines out.
Yes, because he's a construct and morality doesn't really apply to him.
He has no humanity. So
No,
yeah,
That
slight
makes them
problem.
better.
terrifying.
Has anyone got a card?
Thank you.
So yes, you
They're servants.
have.
They don't need morality. That's the owner's job.
We left you at the top of the tower for a reason. This tower has belonged to somebody for a very long time. You had a conversation where he was surprised about the heart of Juradan. He had no idea what you were on about. But when you started describing the path, he said, oh, the path through the curse. And that he seemed to know about. He even offered, in a manner of speaking, his services, saying, if you take the book, you have me. He's not in the book. His soul's not in the book. Literally, it's his memories and his personality that's been transformed into a kind of construct within the book's pages. And he said at any point, if he doesn't answer, just pop in a first level spell slot into the book and he'll wake back up and off he goes. He has pointed out that if you close the book, he ceases to exist. So he won't hear anything, won't see anything, won't be aware of anything until you open the book again. So bear that in mind. If you have the book closed, but it's in your bag, he's not going to hear anything. He's not going to see anything. He's not going to be able to warn you of anything. Also, he doesn't speak. He writes on the pages a little bit like Tom Riddle's diary. But there were things doing it well before Tom Riddle. So
True.
you have this tower. And there's a magical circle. There's symbols about the place. You have got a bunch of casters here. And also the commander of the Silver Hunt.
Hello.
So there may be things here that you may want. So what would you like to do?
I'm taking 5 minutes in the corner because I'm fucked.
Yeah. That's you timing in, because that's what you're doing when you timed out.
Yeah, I'm having my equivalent of a short rest because I am fucked.
Yeah. There's some really comfy chairs here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going for. I'm going for the relatively cleanest and comfiest chair I can get my hand on, and then I'm like, don't fight amongst yourselves. I need to take a short rest. If there's any fighting, I will put you in your corners.
So saith the strength score.
I would love
that
to,
I'm pretty sure I can outroll you all on athletics. So you all get to go and put in your corners.
I would like to examine the enchantments around the place, see what he's done to the tower, while also being able to ask questions to the book.
Okay. Well, yeah, because you can get the guided tour just by asking him, "Oh, what's this?" Describe it, and he tells you. So yeah, I mean, you have the book already, but I do want you to. He can only tell you what he did. Let's see if you can get some idea of glory versions of what you would do. Give me an Arcana roll.
Glory version.
Just something to base this off to start with.
What's it called? 20, non-natural.
Okay.
30.
So
30,
that's
20.
it, yeah.
That is the word.
Okay, so as you're walking around, a lot of the stuff is with the book, which technically meant I should have given you advantage, but screw it. This is only a guide. You're still in the zone, you know. Combat wakes you up, killing, that kind of thing. And so you start wandering around. You think you got that from your mother's side, actually. And you start looking at where this mixture of phosphorus, mercury to make the symbol spell. And you can see that he places insanity, fear, death, sleep in a couple of places. And he is giving you the tour. The symbol spell's being used here quite prolifically, but it is just standard use of it. He's just very good at doing it. You can see the way he's mixed up the reagents and things like that. He's used them very sparingly, but still nailed it. There's just nothing to waste. It's just a well-practiced hand, like an arcane calligrapher, just being able to just do it in one shot, one swift shot. The magic circle, you can see, is actually akin to wild magic. There's a certain amount of respect here. So you know what happens to wild magic sorcerers when things go off. In fact, Professor Scornfuse of Wild Magic University has taught you extensively what happens around wild magic. And so what you see, that this directly taps the maelstrom. In Ilaria, the source of all magic, well, not necessarily the source of all magic, it's a resource of all magic.
Oh no!
You know what to do.
No.
Professor Scornfuse is giving a practical example.
Yep. Well, you're near something tapping the maelstrom. So whilst he's doing the rolls, I'm going to just remind you a bit about wild magic in Illyria. So wild magic isn't actually wild as in crazy. What it is unshaped, raw magic. That's what wild magicians in Illyria use. All magic, when it's used, goes back kind of into the bedrock of reality. When it does that, there's this, what scholars who haven't gone mad has described as a blinding white and yet spectacularly multicolored storm. They describe it as kind of a whirlwind. If it's not just going in neat circles, it's going in every direction, and yet it has this purpose to it, this symmetry to it. It's crazed, but it has function. And that is that everything that goes in has a school, a form. It was used for making fire, it was evocation, it was conjuration, it was abjuration. This is where all the magic basically settles back into the firmament and gets recycled into pure formatted energy. Yeah. Sheer will.
48, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I'll kick it off at the appropriate time. So, yeah, it becomes pure energy attached to will. A mad scholar, absolutely bobbin scholar, theorized that if a mage of suitable strength, so well beyond archmage, was able to get hold of the means to power themselves further, almost to arcane godhood, and enter the maelstrom and wield it from within, they would effectively become God creator. You know, they could cast any magic infinitely for all time. They would probably be incinerated in the process. The Mad Mage actually said it was a certainty that their physical form would no longer exist because they would become one with the maelstrom, and as a result, they would be able to cast any spell as many times as they liked, forever. Just to take raw creative will, powered by all the magic in the world, and just will it to happen. Some people theorize that this is how some gods may have come to be, but many theologians quite insistently turned around and said, no, this is not how they were created. Even the arcane gods, Corellon, the original magical master, Ayum, the original collector of all wisdom, were gods before the maelstrom. In fact, they made it. They're part of creation. What this circle does is it taps the maelstrom safely. It took months just to even cast the spell. And it brings that font of magical energy into the building and powers all the spells with it. It means that he can lay down concentration spells without using concentration.
Yeah.
So a concentration spell for him is just cast it and forget about it. As long as it's within the building, it keeps going. And it also powered the constructs. So he was playing with the big boys. This is not unknown stuff. If you went to Insights, you'd go, oh yeah, well, of course you can do that. But it's high level shit.
Yeah.
Very high level shit. And the fact that he managed to do it in such a subtle way that you couldn't tell from the outside of the building that he was doing it shows a level of mastery that literally only you can get over centuries. You know, elven mages and other mages who artificially extend their life, they're the ones who get to do this. You can't do it in a single mortal. So, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there. You talk more on how he made it so subtle and made the protections of the tower so subtle. The tower was basically one standing counterspell. The door wasn't, because he had to open the door with magic. That's how he chose to get in and out, because that's why I didn't have a key. The fact that that's why your animate door worked so perfectly is that it was literally the only part that wouldn't have fucked with your magic. Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, you in the presence of a master. There is a thing that you can learn from him, and that is subtle enchantment, and that is the ability to give anyone disadvantage on detecting whether an item that you have made is magical, or to detect that you've laid down like illusionary terrain or anything like that, where normally somebody has to detect it. Mostly illusions, but sometimes also like laying down snare traps and things like that. There's a level 1 spell called Snare. If you were to take tutelage by this guy in a book, you could get the subtle enchantment. It's a meta feat. that you just learned. Okay.
That's really cool.
Okay. Other than that, the books are crammed with spells. Absolutely crammed.
Oh yeah, like as we're moving on, Glory's just putting more and more books into her bag of holding.
Farewell's currently napping. You're pretty certain there's throughout this collection, if you were to collect it all up, every wizard first circle and second circle spell is in this collection. Everyone.
You're napping. You don't notice.
Yeah, but you know,
bag of holding.
Bag of holding.
Could do something nice for Farewell.
Of course I can.
He would still have to inscribe them into his own spellbook.
Yeah.
But if he had the time, he could potentially learn every single first and second wizard spell over a course of months.
Yeah.
And have them in his single spellbook. Obviously, these are scattered throughout tons of ponderous tomes. But you've been around an arcane university, you were trained there. I
lived in one for years.
Yeah. So when you see these, you're kind of like, this is a whole fucking syllabus. He's literally got a syllabus. Yeah. Okay. But of the first and second circles only.
Cool.
Corinne.
Very, very cool.
Me.
Yeah.
You.
You do find that there are books on the Golden City and Durodan. They are more diaries, musings, I guess. He stopped doing diaries by date after a few hundred years and started doing diaries by subject, being that he has written most of the books in his bedroom. Yeah?
Yeah.
So his diaries start off, and you notice that some of the older diaries aren't there. You have a feeling either he was ashamed or maybe they got burnt up in the Golden City. You don't know. So that they're kind of scattered, and then eventually when they do start to coagulate, they coagulate by subject rather than by date. And what it is that when he suddenly gets a thought in a particular direction, he'll find the appropriate book and just write more in that book. So most of the books are anywhere between a half to 3/4 finished. There are some subjects, like on the nature of hubris, of which it's volume 1 of 7.
Yeah.
And you can see, just by flicking through them very quickly, Magnificent Sunset started off slightly crazed. Bit of PTSD from what happened in the city. You already have the story. He recounts it in great detail. His part in it all was that he was not a slothful person back then. He was quite the opposite. He was loving the fact that he had gathered the wisdom of all the places that Durodan had conquered, and he was collating it. He wanted to build a legacy, he wanted to build a library, hence his incredible penmanship and the fact that books are prevalent throughout the tower. And he wanted to learn. He wanted to be the best. He wanted to be the greatest mage under the greatest ruler that the world had ever seen. And he was completely blinded to it. And that's in a way where you think that sloth might be a good name for him.
Yeah.
He ended up just in his library in the Golden City, the Royal Library, for which he was given the post of Royal Librarian, which is not a servant position. That's an honored position. There's another head librarian who does all the sorting of the books and things like that. His job was just to be there and make decisions about the library, which suited him down to the ground. When all the corruptions went on, he believed himself slothful because he just carried on with his own interests. He stayed in the library. He heard rumors, but he just carried on with what he wanted. He stayed comfortable and cared for. People brought him food and drink and everything else that he would want as he kept studying and studying and studying. Kept telling himself because he was studying and doing his job, he was being a good, chief mage for his king. If his king ever asked him for any magical advice, he gave it in detail, and it was the best advice that one could give. He was there thinking, how could I be doing wrong? How could I not be serving my master if I'm so powerful and capable and intelligent and wise? When really that was all excuses. He liked the fact that he had finally found a warm and luxurious home. The library of the Golden City had chambers within it for its staff, and none were grander than his.
See, he was a bit of a lazy person.
The busiest lazy person you've ever seen.
Yeah, busy, but liked his comforts by the fact that he did most of the research from his bed.
Oh yeah, in the later years.
Yes. Do I find anything about the heart itself?
Well, he was surprised when you referred to the heart.
Yeah.
So he didn't know what you were about. As a result, there's nothing there that says the heart of Duradan. But there are...
There's just an entire chapter of the book that says, "Dear Eclipse, please find everything about the heart of Duradan. We have decided that you have worked hard enough and thought, fuck it, we will throw you a bone. You really appreciate the efforts that we have gone to. Yours sincerely, Duradan."
He does, however, write extensively about the curse, whether he thinks it'll ever be lifted.
Oh yes, Jordan's curse. Yes, is there anything about Lady Carnitala or Lilith?
Yes. Mostly supposition. He remembers her being intelligent, devoted. He, as far as he's aware, thought that she was head over heels in love with the great King Jordan, and believes that she was as faithful and honest to him as any bride would ever be.
Okay, there's nothing about her being a literal succubus.
Does mention that when he found out that she was an ambassador of hell.
Ambassador of Hell.
I mean, that's a title, if anything.
But that's how he refers to her. He states that he wasn't surprised, that he thought that she had an ageless wisdom about her, and she would often match him in terms of wit and intelligence, how learned she was, despite the fact that she spent most of her time on what he would consider frippery. And he says that he believed that even at the end she would not have betrayed him, but by coming to him in the first place, connecting him with hell, and later on the rebuke that hell gave, if you remember, hell actually rose because she defied it. The pit fiend rising and bringing in all the soldiers. He believes that she was still responsible, even though he believes that that her loyalty did not waver, and that in the end she was responsible in liability, but not intent. He had many hundreds of years to dwell on this, and he would go to all the formal meals in the palace. The library was, of course, in the palace. So he did speak to her on a regular basis. He knew her originally as Lilith the Half-Elf. But then, as he thinks about the conversations and things that they had, he was very good at reliving his memories. As you saw with being able to put them into the book, he suddenly went, yeah, it all makes sense. It completely makes sense. Regarding the curse itself, he does talk about how they came up with the curse. they were all destined to get the same curse as Jordan. When the gods came in to basically close up a hellmouth, to use the Buffy term, Jordan was beyond hope at that point. He had been entwined with demonic energies, infernal energies, and the curse had already set into him first. He was ground zero after all. They could feel the curse upon them, and no matter what the clerics did to stop their fate, they realized that a great work, a great act was necessary. And Sunset was one of the people who orchestrated it. At least he gave them the big act. The big act was an act of atonement. The act of atonement would be that none would be able to follow Jordan into his corruption. Many had died already. And in doing so, what they did is they took the remaining survivors and teleported them to various parts of Valeria. In doing so, they completely wiped their memory. So a bunch of tabaxi with amnesia just appeared all over Valeria. But considering...
Does this match like history as I know it from?
Well, you don't know about the history of bunch of tabaxi just turning up with no memory, but knowing how the Naru have their Wanderlust and travel the world, yes, there probably would have been a few hundred scattered around the world, but they would have just moved on, lived lives, gone back to Naruka. If somebody did say, "Oh, you went off with Jordan," they're like, "Did I? Did I? Oh, I don't remember anything." They didn't remember the Golden City, nothing. So they exonerated the remaining civilians by doing that. But he said it was a scant 400 or 500 people that were left. The rest had been completely devoured. Then to seal Jordan away and the city, the whole city away, they had to split time itself. So they had to basically make a parallel universe or find a parallel universe where the Golden City had never been built and graft that reality onto ours. And the only way to slip between the two worlds, between the parallel universes, is to follow the path. Now, the person who follows the path and manages to meet all the threats, do the right thing, gain the power that would be inherent by following the path, would be able not to... well, first of all, they'd be able to resist joining Jordan in the taint that was on him. And instead would either be able to end him, which the infernal energies just did not allow that, even then with the gods there, or they would be able to cure him by taking away the last of his corruption and allowing him to go, as all mortals do, into the cascade uncorrupted and finally rest.
Right. Just writing down. So, more time fuckery. Golden City is in the parallel universe, which you can only get to by following the path.
Yes.
Later on, when you show this particular tome to Felicia, to Glory, Glory will correct you and say, no, there wasn't time fuckery. They copied and pasted from a parallel dimension. And it's held in place in the same way that power was brought into this tower.
It is technically not time fuckery. By the definition that they only copied time. They didn't change it.
They didn't change time. No.
I'm just going to remind you all of this later. That's okay. Mental note is being made for later.
Hello.
They grafted a piece of rogue reality onto this rogue reality and then kept the patch in place by putting a font of the maelstrom so that it stuck.
Okay. Aiden is just hearing all of this fingers on his temple and just goes, "Magic was a mistake." Also, by the way, Simon, Scorm. I don't think you resolve Scorms while magic.
Yeah, don't worry. I the last few times that Scorm has managed to set this off, I've managed to bide my time, but I'm going to go and just check. So that's going to be table
48
4.
and a 4. Yeah.
Table 4.
I don't think it's.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
never mind. Later. Fine. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So,
Cool.
you carry on. And don't worry, Scorm, it has triggered. They just haven't met it yet. So, yeah, so you get the tour. He talks about the constructs. He says he likes to keep certain things simple, but he wanted the constructs to be able to at least hold a conversation.
Yeah, obviously.
The houndsmen and the servants, other than Hepburn, were all given what he calls low mind personalities to ground him.
So he gave them like hillbilly farmer personalities for him to like
ground him so that he could still be connected to the real world. Because if he just carried on speaking just to a scholar, it would start to erode his mind. He kind of knew himself. He kind of knew what was going to drive him bobbins.
Yeah.
So,
Reasonable.
Farewell, can you do is this like magically possible to copy paste onto like another reality and have it like be in 2 different realities with like
Eclipse, my dear, I think we already have the answer because that is exactly what has happened.
I mean,
To be honest,
most people
is
usually give me a
this
minute or
really
two.
the strangest thing the gods have done?
do you think this was
sorry,
God stuff?
Stop. Oh, what? I've been asleep. What?
So apparently, so you know how like the mysterious golden city that no one's been able to find. Apparently, they looked through the time stream, found a reality where the city wasn't built, took that part of that reality and put it on top of ours. And the only way to reach the golden city is to walk the path, which we're currently doing.
And we wonder why people say magic is a mistake.
I firmly believe that magic is a mistake. You just get to say
It was
words.
the gods,
Sometimes
okay?
No,
What
this was not the gods. This was the generals that did this.
Yeah.
Look out for Rodrigo's sequel campaign where he tries to bring down single-handedly the entire Maelstrom because fuck that shit.
No.
I've just got this like you know that they have those things of like crazy Americans shooting at like tornadoes with all their guns and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of like, I imagine there's like the whole Maelstrom and he's just running at it with a sword. He's like, I'll show you metaphysical representation of magic.
Listen, man. I can and will fight the sun IRL. So this is not out of my wheelhouse.
In answer to your
Rodrigo,
question,
have you seen Castlevania?
Seasons 1 and 2.
Seasons 1 and 2. Okay, I won't spoil anything then, but yeah.
I think you would enjoy the rest of the seasons.
Yeah, you'll definitely enjoy the rest of the seasons.
As long as they've cut out that Lolita shit. I mean, that was really
What's the Lolita
uncomfortable.
thing?
There is in the anime.
Not.
You'll be pleased to know it's not anywhere in the Netflix series. So you're gonna.
No, it's in Netflix season 2.
Yeah, I heard some shit about season 3 that I am avoiding for reasons. So
There's one of the 3 vampire sisters is represented rather youngly in a certain fashion and does some things that is very questionable.
But anyways,
more focusing on what we're doing.
Yeah. Anyways, mankind has a moral imperative to destroy the Maelstrom.
Which leaves only divine magic.
Which is fine by me. I can still do shit. Yes, in answer to your question, as soon as I've woken from my nap, Totally possible. I could, with enough time, probably figure us a way in, but I probably need to read that book and read and study more, and then I think between all of us we can find a way inside. I'm a little worried about what they would have done inside of it, though. If we're talking
Depends. Folding time so that it never goes on, perhaps.
All right.
That would be enough to trap him for eternity, wouldn't it?
Or self-sustaining in a loop. He could be anything from he relives his entire life.
I was going to ask.
The city's founded. Sorry,
I was going to ask. You know more about this than I do, obviously. What would you say? How would doing this affect the perception of time inside the Golden City?
Give me your grim psychometry roll.
Ooh. Okay, give me a moment. Let's see. I think that's 27.
You feel something rushing towards you, and your hand shoots out, and a book is in your hand.
Oh, cool. Helpful. Anyways.
You have a feeling that you did it.
Weird. Sure, I'll deal with this later. What does the? Yeah, I'm just gonna start reading the book.
The book seems to be his musings on how they did what they did and his part in it. It's actually part of the seven volume series that Eclipse is currently buried in.
Interesting.
As you do so, you can you look at the book. That bit there looks like it needs to open here. And as you do so, some text jumps out of the book and says, it is a masterful work, complete in every way, shape, and form. The only way that you can tell the seam between this world and that which we have imposed upon it is a small time dilation at its borders. As a bird will fly, it will slow momentarily before continuing on its route unabated.
I see. This means that this remind me. How long ago did this happen? I forget.
Thousands of years ago.
Thousands of years ago.
Before the New Order, so at least 1,000 years ago, and it was old 1,000 years ago. So you're talking about 2,000 or so years ago.
2,000 years ago, give or take. This means that inside the Golden City, they've been sealed for, like, technically for longer.
Yeah.
And more than... I don't think that anyone we find in there is going to be completely sane.
Oh no,
I guess
wasn't
it depends on
that.
how the dilation itself works. I mean, if for example they're not continuing on a linear period of regression, they're more you experience, I don't know, the last 4 weeks. You go to sleep one day, it resets, you lose every memory you had of the last 4 weeks, and it repeats. You know, you could potentially get stuck in that loop for decades, centuries, millennia, and never notice. But then, as you said, it could take one person to realize something was screwy, go completely nuts, and the whole thing could cascade and tear itself apart. I guess we won't know the exact answer until we're inside. I think we should probably prepare.
It will be fascinating to study it, if nothing else.
Exactly. I think we should prepare for what Aiden has suggested and hope for that we are just reliving the good times in the city and that it just loops before it all goes to shit. Otherwise, we're going to look at a full-on, apocalyptic gate full of rampaging demons and crazy tabaxi. And it's terrifying, to be completely honest. That also raises the interesting question: if it is looping, how do we stop ourselves from becoming as part of the loop and losing our own
more
sense
importantly,
of selves?
I do believe we need to break the curse, meaning that we take the place from its time loop
and push it back into our reality.
Yes.
Yeah, but here's my concerns. One, how do we like getting in is one thing. How do we get out? And two, if we break the curse and things go back to normal, since they just already admitted that they're basically two planes of existence copy pasted one over another. If the curse is broken, wouldn't that mean something really, really disastrous is going to happen?
Potentially.
Not necessarily. It means
Because as far
that
as I'm concerned, the only thing,
Potentially, I think is
the only
fair
thing
response.
keeping everything stable is the curse.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I would have thought that if we do pull it back into our reality, the first issue will be wherever the city is supposed to be in the world, we got to hope that there's nothing there at the moment.
yeah, because
they
otherwise
will
we
wanna
need to.
occupy the same space. So we need to kind of consider that. The second, as to go back to what you were saying earlier, Aiden, is if they're all crazy and all sorts of doing other things, the last thing we want to do is unleash a rampaging horde onto
That's
the.
true.
May I
onto the
suggest a
unsuspected
thing?
ground. Of course, go ahead.
Why don't we ask the guy who was a part of making this curse?
Yes.
Oh, you've
We
got
have-
the book.
I am
We
holding
have-
up the book.
Yes, we can just
Oh,
ask
yeah.
the guy who knows.
Well, go ahead.
I mean,
Out
regardless,
of all of us,
we
you've
can't
got the
even-
neatest handwriting.
Yes.
Regardless,
You don't need to write, you can speak at the book.
Yeah, you can speak to
It
it, and he'll
was a
write back.
terrible attempt at humor.
But that too.
yeah, but regardless, we can't really even think about getting in until Eclipse has completed the path. And as far as I'm
True.
concerned, there's one or two more canoptic jars left.
Yes, there's two.
And I guess the one thing I haven't quite figured out, and it might be because, I get hit in the head a lot when we do these things. All other jars, like, what are their uses?
True.
Are they important for breaking the curse?
Actually,
Well,
Eclipse,
Farrell
have you
sort of goes, "The
opened one of
curse."
them?
Uh,
I would not open a jar
Uh.
of remains, but okay.
I mean, that, we've collected these things quite diligently.
It says P. Dora at the bottom.
Best used by. Oh.
Display before, used by.
yeah.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, it has an obliterating holy fire date. That's interesting.
I've never seen one of those before.
And it was 200 years ago. Shit.
Oh, look, it's still good as it's still good for another century. Well, that's nice.
You got the
Wow, they
receipts
really
on these
deserve
things,
that
so we
one.
can get a we can get a refund. Oh,
Yeah.
we
go through
passed the
this whole
refund
thing
date.
and never have to use them. It's like, can I get a refund? Like, on all of the spell slots and the materials and all the other shit that we spent. Can I get a refund? I feel like I'm being ripped off here. Am I the only one that feels like I'm being ripped off here?
Yeah, I do love the fact that you collected 4 canopic jars and thought, I'm just going to put it in the bag and not look at it.
Yeah, like even I was curious because like Eclipse especially like.
Well, when I first got it, Simon said it's just a jar of like random.
Fair. I wasn't. I don't
It's
think
true.
I was
It's
there.
true.
For
I
that.
gave you that at the time, but yeah, you've got considerably more powerful since.
Yeah.
That's true. Actually, I
mean,
think Aiden's
well-
gonna take a look at one of those canoptic jars. If it has to do with something dead, might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You take a look at it. Slight ghost resonance on it.
Fun.
It seems to be made from. It's kind of an ivory material. You're thinking the bones of some fantasy creature. Big bugger as well. To be able to make one of these, it's fairly hefty. It's like a thickness of I don't know. Like
Trying to determine whether the
a
weight
young
is
tree.
the jar itself or the contents.
You knock on it. It seems to be not like these thin decorative canopic jars that, this is like drop strong, which is, intended. The top is sealed on with what seems to be some sort of strong resin. Has an almost amber-like look when you look at the seam. And when you kind of tap it and shake it, it seems to be about maybe a fifth full.
Okay. I'm gonna put my ear against the jar, see if I hear anything inside.
Give me a charisma saving. No, don't worry, I'm not gonna get it. No sound, but you do get a feel for ghost energy around it.
Cool. All right. I'm not gonna open one. That would be very unwise. But I will tell them. Well, whatever these things have or are, they're clearly been touched by ghostly stuff. For
Give
lack of a
me
better term.
a perception check with advantage.
Bum, 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 bum.
Bubble.
That's
Cool.
what we all hear
Give me a
in
moment.
the jars, because they're tabaxi. They're like
19.
With a 19, I will give you that all 4 canopic jars have exactly the same ghostly resonance.
Interesting.
Exactly the same, huh?
Does that mean that it's the same person's different organs that have been collected into them?
Could
Oh, because they're all the different
Yeah.
generals.
But do we know
assume.
that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
Glory has a valid point. We assume that they are each one of his generals.
What
or
if-
part of him?
we've been collecting pieces of Jordan this entire time?
That is,
No,
I mean,
Eclipse thinks he's alive still from her
No,
I
vision.
alive.
mean-
He's like a corpse, but he's in one place.
and it's not unusual
Okay,
when
so
you're
hear me
embalming
out.
a corpse that you would take out certain
Aiden,
organs.
this is more your specialty than it is mine. Is there any difference between the you said ghostly aura of
Yes.
the of like us mortals and the demons
Actually, can you tell
or
me that?
devils?
You would need an oracle, an augur, a scryer. Any of those would be able to tell the difference between ghostly auras. You
I
can
think
just
we've got a
detect them long
scry.
enough
Cora
to be able
can do
to.
that.
Hmm?
Cora can scry.
This is specifically a natural born scryer or a natural born oracle.
Ah,
Scrying in that
Because-
case is like scrying 101, which is remote viewing. And
I just like
Remote
the
sensors.
thing is like we know Kantava is a devil, so she wouldn't have even she could should still be alive theoretically. But what if it's just pieces of her in this jar, and by breaking the curse, we essentially resurrect and reunite her with her loved one?
That's true. I am not. Sadly, this is a bit out of my area of expertise, but I do know that souls, ghosts, and demons / devils do look.
I'm gonna ask the book.
Yeah, but my current
excuse me,
hypothesis.
Excuse me,
go on,
sentence.
hold on, Eclipse.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't. What's the hypothesis?
My current hypothesis is Jordan's body is in the Golden City,
Mhm.
but what we've been collecting has been bits of his soul, for lack of a better term.
Oh, it's
And
gooey bits.
splitting souls and putting them into objects is not unheard of. That is,
Oh
Lit-
no, splitting souls is quite an easy feat of magic.
it's
if
lich
extremely-
them. It's lich them 101.
Yeah,
So-
and it's easy enough to do. It's just incredibly dangerous, and the side effects are, well,
But yes,
not
Eclipse.
worth the risks most of
Please
the
do ask our
times.
resident expert.
Go on, that's Eclipse.
Yes. I'm gonna ask the book and say, sorry, Sunsets. These canopic jars. Is it parts of the generals that of the generals' bodies that are in there, or is it something else?
Oh, good Lord, no. Those were given to us. We were told to
Ah.
protect them.
Ah, shit.
There you go.
Okay.
Who gave them
Okay.
to you?
You'll know her as Karnitava.
There you go.
Right. All right.
Shit.
It was her final act before she died.
Right. Do you know what's in the jars?
We needed reagents for being able to shackle the curse to our great king, to stop it from spreading in our shame to us, but also to the rest of the people. It was also the only way to be able to seal that doomed city, once glorious, but now, as it was, a threat for the whole of Valeria.
Okay,
We bound it to the ruler, King's magic. Maybe you've heard of it.
So is
A
this
lord, a ruler.
parts of Jordan that I'm walking around with?
I'm afraid I don't know. We couldn't figure out what the reagents should be.
Here's
So
a
Karnitava brought them to us.
Here's
All
a
that we
more
cared
important
about is
question.
that they worked.
Here's a more important question. Did you get to see Jordan before you got handed the jars?
We couldn't go anywhere near him. If we did, as some of our colleagues found out, the curse took them.
So the only one who could approach him was Kanataba.
Karnitava.
I suppose so, yes. She was already infernal. An infernal curse would do nothing to her. The other devils, the pit fiend, wanted to end her, rend her into nothingness. But she was intelligent, wise, skillful in many arts. She fought alongside my king in battle. She was a many capable, wonderful person. Well, that was the perception before we found out who she was, but I guess those things were still her. The two are not necessarily mutually exclusive. So yes, she had the guile, she had the ability to hide her soul. Did she have a soul? Many people theorized.
Actually, this is a very basic
It was possible.
a lore question from me, this player, to you. Do devils technically have souls?
No.
They don't.
Devils do not have souls. That's how they can consume them.
Yeah.
Both devils and demons do not have souls. It's what makes the blood war so damn dangerous for them. If they were fighting humans, they could suck the souls out. If you're fighting a demon, there's no snack at the end of the fight.
Yeah. Now, this might go into some morbid territory, but that is just how my brain works. Like, I'm just thinking, what if she couldn't approach him, but she still had part of him? You know, like part of his DNA. I'm just saying that maybe it's just parts of an unborn child that's around in these jars.
Fucking
I think it's more likely it's actually Jordan than
Karnitava's baby.
Wow.
Like I'm saying,
that's a World of Darkness shit right there. I mean,
that's
not to metagame this, but I would never write that for a D&D game.
No.
Wow.
That's full on grimdark.
I'd be putting content warnings if I put that shit in a campaign.
Hello, David Lynch. Welcome to the our stream. It's good to have you here. I'm thinking about the
I'm
fucking
so
eraser.
sorry about where my mind goes, but like we're dealing with devils. Like I wouldn't put it past them.
No, I wouldn't
Call
put
of
it past them as
Cthulhu,
well.
World of Darkness, but I would never put that in a D&D.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I guess to continue Glory/Felicia's train of thought in a significantly less dark direction, maybe Carnitava is the last canoptic jar.
Yeah, it's Carnitava or possibly, as you said, parts of Jordan himself.
Well, you're nearly there. You nearly have all 6.
Yes. There's only 6. We're missing it, so I'm assuming it's the 6 generals and then Carnitava, considering the pattern it's gone in. As you know, Sunset, the names I've been asked to give all of the jars have been associated with one of the 7 deadly sins. You were sloth, and then there was
I am not slothful. I am one of the hardest workers you will ever find.
Well, apparently that's you. I'm sorry if that's sensitive, but that's the way
The page doesn't answer.
we have envy, gluttony, pride, and sloth. The page doesn't like me anymore.
Nope.
No.
You just lost your talking to the book privileges.
He's sulking, that's all.
Angie.
Aggie.
Hi, Angie. I'm not lazy.
Aggie. Yes, I'm sure you're very hard worker, but that's the sin that you've been described. Then we, so I'm currently missing Wrath. Korean has a brain. This envy, gluttony, pride, sloth, wrath, lust. Missing one.
Pride. No, you
Oh,
said
I already
pride.
have
We have
pride.
pride. Wrath.
I already said wrath.
Wrath, pride, gluttony, sloth,
Greed.
Greed. Yes.
Are you saying this to the book?
Yes.
Well, wrath. No surprise there.
Any of the generals that would fit into either wrath or greed?
Oh, almost certainly. The man who tried to kill Jordan when he found out about
There we
Lilith.
go.
That would certainly be it.
What's his name?
He was a good general, don't get me wrong. But Relenting Tempest is definitely not one to be trifled with. He left.
I mean, his
with...
name is kind of on the nose, yes.
It's not Unrelenting Tempest, Relenting Tempest.
Yes.
But yes, Relenting Tempest was a Tempest for short. Was not one to be trifled with. He kept Gorodan on the road of conquest, challenged him, but the only man who could, and did, daily. If you ever saw Jordan in a bad mood, it would be Tempest who put him there. He left with his dwarven artificers after the act. He said that he couldn't bear to see us, speak to us, acknowledge our existence ever again. He took his dwarven followers and, snatching one of the canopic jars, he left.
I suppose we know who we're dealing with next then.
And greed would be, and it stops on B for a second.
Go on.
No, it's just the letter B, and then you kind of see like maybe an I come in, and then he sort of goes back up again, and then it starts becoming an E, and then he changes his mind, he goes back to an I, and then it's like, oh, okay.
That would be opportunity.
B opportunity.
Yes.
Fitting.
As in BE. Okay, that's what I meant by stopping on B.
Yeah, that would be as in BE.
Yeah.
Opportunity.
Okay. Opportunity. Okay.
Master of Commerce. He was nearly killed in the attack, not because one of the devils got to him, but Tempest nearly killed him. We all knew that Opportunity had descended from a cambion. He's a
tiefling?
Yes, tiefling, that's the word. He was a tiefling. But we
Yes, I thought the name sounded less like a tabaxi name and more familiar.
Opportunity was descended from a cambion. Suspicion fell on him immediately, both with regarding Karnatava.
Same thing.
And when he says Lilith, sorry, Karnatava, it goes Lilith, strike through, sorry, Karnatava. We believe also that there's a possibility he was involved, but he did do as much work, if not more, than anybody else to make this happen. In fact, he exposed himself to a lot of orichalcum and a lot of residuum in order to get this to work. He used his vast supplies, his riches, both magical and material, to create the conduit. He helped build it himself. Man of incredible talents. But by the end of it, his mind was only barely held together. He exposed himself to orichalcum mirrors. That's the closest I could probably give you to what he did for the conduit. He built a physical channel that we could pour the energy into. And that beacon would hold our great work together. Once we set it off, it became impenetrable. Nothing could get in. Certainly no devil. He worked hard, got damaged. He was taken away by his retainers, raving, ranting, screaming, repenting. If you do find him, if you manage to find a way to achieve even more longevity than I did, I'm afraid he'll be quite bad.
I mean, I assume you're the only one who's been lucid that I've spoken to. Really.
I suppose there was the first one. Pride did speak to you a little bit.
Yeah, but he was very... not as conversational.
Well, neither am I, in a way. You are just reading a book, after all.
Yes, but you're much more forthcoming.
I am mostly a collection of the works that you will find in this tower, in a construct capable of putting those things together and presenting them in a civil fashion.
I mean, yes, but still, much more forthcoming. Okay, so is there anyone you would think that fits the description of lust, or is that Karnatava?
No, not really. maybe it was a flawed naming convention that you brought. There are only 6 targets that you're going for.
Yes, there's only
There's-
6 targets. And Lust is the one who is missing, which is suspicious.
Lust is a single-mindedness, something that we were all guilty of at some point. Even Jordan himself was single-mindedly trying to create the perfect empire, the perfect world around him.
Yes, but
That
that's more
logic-
like pride and greed.
By that logic, then,
No.
it sounds like the Golden City is lost.
Possibly.
It's certainly what we all lusted for collectively. I can't think of any other reason why it would be there. I mean, maybe that was it. Maybe we've all admitted to our sins to a certain extent, if indeed someone is going to paint me as slothful. I will remind you, Eclipse, that you have read one of the books in his collection where he pretty much admits to being slothful when it comes to this, but the personality in the book doesn't seem to have that part installed. That is defending himself. If that is indeed appropriate, maybe
that's
lust
what your
was
diary said. But she doesn't say that.
maybe lust was the one sin we were all guilty of.
Don't.
Or we're just barking up the wrong tree. You'll find some
Or
lustful
power
entity.
is just as valid as a lust for, gratification.
Well, that's more of a like envy or greed thing with, because lust and greed are very similar, but lust, I think, specifically is defined as lust of flesh.
Oh, greed and lust are very different. Greed is the blind gain, to gain anything of value, to gain anything that one sees and even in a shallow term wishes to acquire. Lust is specific, it's focused, it's obsession is what lust is. I mean, the classical version of lust that you'll find in the Bard's Tales was not exactly a problem in the Golden City. We were somewhat libertine in our pursuits of physical pleasure. We never really needed to lust for anything. Gratification as part of being in the greatest city in the world was something that, well, was very easy to come by. Also, we're Tabaxi. No, lust in this case is obsession. A single-minded purpose. A single-minded...
Lust is you, Eclipse.
No.
No, she might be onto something.
Yeah, that would
She's
fit.
got a point.
That would.
You guys are not helping.
We're not joking. We're being serious.
Yeah.
Your single-mindedness.
It's Eclipse, sweetheart. You've said it plenty of time. This whole quest is a part of your wanderlust. It's in the word, in the name.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's German, which is that language that doesn't exist anymore. But
You can't blame me for that, it's German!
if there is anything that I have learnt over our times together and in my current profession and new profession, these things are rarely coincidental. If your lust to find an answer of what happened to Juridan is as strong as I think it is, and as strong as Cora quite rightly pointed out, you could be the final piece of the puzzle. You could be
I
the
can't
final...
be lust. Glorious lust. She fucks anything that moves.
That's a different kind of lust.
Yeah, we're not
But
talking about that
also
kind of
lust.
lust.
Also,
The book
Glory's
says,
not
arguably, Glory, from what you've just said, has greed.
Yeah.
I agree. Actually, I agree.
That's not to say she'll fuck anything, just anything that she finds pretty.
Yeah.
What she
Also,
doesn't
like,
do is get
mine,
obsessed on a
mine,
single person.
mine. Anyways, yeah, but also like out of everyone here, sans the book, you're the only tabaxi.
Well, I mean, what was it? Obsession was the descendant of a cambium. So, but I do think. I mean, who's to say? Eclipse.
Opportunity.
Opportunity. That was
Well,
it.
yeah. No, I've never mentioned anyone called Obsession.
Yeah, sorry, opportunity. That was me. I was thinking about Eclipse and Lust, and Obsession popped into my brain.
Fair.
Yeah.
This is not a negative thing, of course, Eclipse. It just could be a part of your
path.
tapestry of your life, that a proportion of it is that you are intrinsically weaved to Duratan and his
Jordan.
sorry.
I'm not obsessed, but you said it wrong.
If you can't tell, I too am also incredibly tired and my brain is completely fucked.
Fair.
It's Friday.
To Jordan, and it could always be in the great cosmic weave of existence that you were always destined to be born with this part of this great mystery inside of you, and you have a role to play. Whether that's to free the city and doom us all and become a great evil empress that rules this land and will have to slaughter you horribly, or redeem everybody and save them, or choose the third option and make sure that this watch goes on for another couple of millennia until the next set of people are reborn to have another look, thus keeping the cycle rolling. There's a very good chance you're a reincarnation, and that some thousands and thousands of years ago there was a little eclipse that ran through the Golden City, causing all sorts of problems.
Was there I told you the book. Was there a tabaxi called Eclipsed Moon in the Golden City?
It wouldn't have had the same name. You could have
Not
had
that I
any
recall.
name.
I don't think he meant it literally.
No, and it's adorable that you thought I did, but
Wouldn't that have been the most terrifying coincidence if there was?
I mean, I don't want to be rude, but I'm not the first farewell in my genealogy.
That is true. I have at least 14 other aunts named Glory during the past 500 years.
So there's probably a good chance there's been an eclipse of the moon before. I mean, it's got nothing on our current eclipse of the moon. But, who's not to say that there wasn't one that ran through that city and, was constantly looking for dark and shady places to turn into a bat cat so she could annoy people because she enjoyed it.
I'm bat cat.
I'm back up. I'm not convinced.
Look, I can't be the only one sat in this group that's had a bunch of crazy ass people come up to me and go, "It's part of the magical weaving of the universe."
I haven't had anyone say that to me, but I've always been taught that I have a destiny to fulfill.
You guys are not making a convincing argument on why magic is not a mistake.
Oh no, magic is a huge mistake, but it's one that we just have to live with.
And it's one that we can
I'm going to be writing the campaign where Aiden destroys all magic in the world.
Or dies trying.
Fuck you, magic.
Hey, I can do it as a parallel canon. I can do it as the Dark Sun equivalent of Valeria. I will do this.
To paraphrase a very famous alcoholic, it is the cause of and the solution to all of our problems.
Sure.
Agreed.
Either way, shall we gather our things and leave this dusty old tower?
Yeah,
I
had a good nap.
imagine.
It was very nice.
Well, I have gathered up all the books I could find, so...
That's not
You're
reassuring
suddenly
at all.
very glad at all having standard issue bag of holdings from the Green Organization.
Although Glory's is one of those ones where it's kind of lopsided, so she has to walk leaning to the left slightly too much because it's like heavier than everybody else's. It's
Currently.
comically bulged.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much you put in there. It's always weighs the same. So
And if
that's
I
so
remember
fun.
correctly, it matches your outfit because that was one of the spells on it.
yes, it matches your outfit. You can, you can, and it doesn't look like a bag of holding.
I just wanted
only the
Glory
best.
to look like one of those loot goblins from Diablo. You know, where they've got that giant bag of swag over their shoulder.
Thank you for reminding me those exist.
And that she sort of just runs around and that we have to chase her about, golden axe style, kicking her so that she drops loot.
Yeah, exactly.
It plays that little music and we're just going, come here! And like every time we boot her, like potions and like magical items and books
Gold.
fly out of her.
She's like an arcane pinata.
Exactly.
And I got the stick.
So, Aiden, you do find some of the books are things that you are interested in as well. You find a few and kind of put them in your bag as well. They are mostly down to the nature of the soul magic and musings on the canopic jars, what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Eclipse has looked at them, but they seem to be rambling for the most part. But maybe if you use them with the dust cold, you might be able to get to something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I was thinking about taking the jars to at least some of them, not all of them, to
Golden
the dust
Axe was
hole.
amazing. Yeah. So you think that there may be things that you can do with regard to this.
You're not going to let convince Calypso to give you the jar. She's going to have to go to the dust cold with you.
So yes, you can. So Aiden, you can study the jars, but also there are some musings regarding the state of the city and the state of the I keep saying demons, the state of the devils that were inside.
Mm-hmm.
That's more your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
What would have happened in this displaced dimension, pocket dimension, loop?
Actually,
you've come up with a bunch of theories. What would happen to devils if separated from a supply of souls?
Actually, yeah, you're right. Especially because, like, no matter how many people got trapped in the city with Jordan, at some point you eat
must
them
have
all.
run out.
Yeah.
And devils aren't exactly known for allowing people to breed before they feed.
No.
Yeah, so there's a good chance. Okay, devil infighting is probably most definitely a thing, considering the nature of devils, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is devil cannibalism a thing?
They don't have souls.
Yes, they can't eat themselves.
But
they
can
might
contain soul energy.
Yeah, that is
so
true.
They could potentially steal a lesser because the more energy, more souls they consume, the more powerful they get, and they go up through ranks. So they can go from being the lowliest Lemure all the way up to a pit fiend, depending on how many souls they consume.
Yeah,
and the more powerful the soul, the greater the jump in rank becomes.
I love that Hell was given a pyramid scheme as its basis.
It's very fitting.
It's murder Pokemon.
It's more, so Aiden. Upon this realization, Aiden is gonna go do some deep reading about this. So I'm going to take a look at the jars, see if I can figure out what's in them.
Theoretically, if we had an approximation of how many devils that were in the city, under the assumption that they would start consuming each other, at what point would the last one standing, how powerful would that have become?
That's a very good question, and also you have to put in the time dilation in factor.
Yes.
You have to factor it in.
Yeah, it could be that you'll jump in 5 seconds after the event of the curse dropping, or 2,000 years.
Or more. 4,000, 5,000.
Yeah, it could be dilated the other way, yeah.
So, I am. This has become rather concerning. I think this is gonna
The fact that this exists is a concern to Aiden's mental state.
So you gather up the stuff, as you say, Glory, and once you've got everything that you want, you get a load of arcane implements. I would say the next three, what's the word? Components, spell components that you need, other than gems. I mean, spell components that don't have a GP cost. You already have on you. You don't need to source them.
Okay.
And
Cool.
just from the bric-a-brac that you find. As you are ferreting around, Nick, give me a Arcana check, please.
Okay.
Come on, little wizard. You can do it.
DC 70.
That's not good. I rolled. It's a 10.
A 10. You find a number of interesting intellectual terms. Yeah. Certainly things that you'll be able to apply and maybe apply to your chronomancy. Maybe start weaving your own brand of chronomancy. This guy had some pretty cool theories on a number of subjects, mostly the nature of magic itself and how to tailor it your way, how to weave it your way. Unfortunately, nothing that Glory could use because Glory is a sorceress. Nothing that
I've taken everything I can use and then some, because Glory
This is
has
strictly
her own
wizardship.
personal library back home, and she's intending on expanding on it whenever she moves back. It's just a simple fact of life.
I mean, understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, if for new viewers, Farewell had some library envy when he visited Tulsaran because free floors and magically moving staircases.
Yeah,
How did he react to the Duskholds library? Because I wasn't there for that one.
I was a very happy boy.
Yeah,
he was very
very
impressed.
happy.
Yeah.
Even
if he wasn't the best guest, but yes. So
I was absolutely the best guest.
you reason a page out of a book.
You have
Lips.
no idea what I did or did not do.
I'm innocent.
I am completely innocent.
Okay.
By the
I
way, shall we
technically
take?
didn't do
I was about to say
anything.
we're going to go into a hangar. Yeah. Sorry.
I didn't do anything. Technically, the
I
tabaxi
regret
did.
nothing. Says Farewell.
Technically, the Tabaxi did it.
As such, I
Technically.
did nothing.
Nothing.
With the magic gone from this tower, it's starting to feel very much just like an old, tired tower. Now all of the books, the reagents have been collected up by you all. Small fortune in academic tomes. You feel quite safe in stepping away and leaving this place to time or whoever decides to come along and reclaim it. It's as you're stepping outside of the tower that a
You're muted,
giant
Felicia.
blinding light suddenly shoots out from the middle of nowhere, and you hear, "Behold, I am the Guardian. I felt one of the champions of the gods fall. Fear me, denizens of evil. Fear me, for my name is Steve." And with that, we are going to take a break.
As that happens, I would like to say that Glory is like, and teleports us to Ostergal.
Do not teleport us. We are not teleporting away, Felicia. We are not teleporting away.
You don't have the time, and also wild magic has happened, and wild magic cannot be denied. If you get teleported, Steve will follow you through the ether.
You deal with this one, Farewell.
Sticker.
Anyway,
Steve.
we will find out more about Steve.
This will continue
after a
through the
10-minute
break. All right, see you guys in a sec. Bye.
See you in a sec.
now.
And welcome back, everybody. When we left off, we ended up meeting, thanks to the persistence of a small kobold, we eventually are meeting a legend of Illyrian canon for jumping out of the maelstrom itself is the light in the darkness, the ultimate hero, Steve.
Steve.
I love him.
Is Steve an actual unicorn or is Steve a person?
Well, you'll find out.
Steve is Steve.
Yes. Yes. The answer is yes.
Exploding out of this light is a bright and beautiful being. 4 golden hooves hit the floor, and as they do so, the grass around them turns gold. Flowers bloom with multicolored petals. A beautiful, pure white light coming out of the white coat atop an ivory horn as a unicorn stands before you, proud, resplendent, even as the light recedes. And it says, "Guardian of the gods, I felt your life force waning. Are you well?" And immediately he hits you with a level 9 cure wounds spell.
Well, now Famo feels better.
I mean, I hadn't actually changed my my health since things, so I'll take it. I'm assuming that probably takes me to top.
No, he hits very well with it.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn it. Fine.
Oh, well, I rolled a load of hit dice during like my sleep, so I wasn't actually that bad. So whilst he blows the 9th level spell slot, I heal 1.
You know what? That just makes it even better.
Yeah.
Where are the foes that attempt to take your life? I shall make sure that they are nothingness. Oh, as he does so, as he says nothingness, beautiful golden armor appears on him from like kind of warhorse armor, but with no saddle section. It's specifically meant for him. Do any of you speak Orcish?
No.
No.
Yep. Okay, never mind. You can see that there are Orcish maker's marks on the armor, and I'm going to let Felicia, actually both Felicia and Nick, do history checks.
Oh boy, I'm not good at this. I need to get better at that. Yeah, nah. I don't think an 8 is gonna cut it.
No, it's not.
Hold on. My
It's a DC 10. It's
well, mine's a 16 with guidance.
sure. Yeah, you can see that it has the Meridian Maker's Mark on there. So all the blacksmiths in Meridia, as part of their Maker's Seal, the Maker's Mark that they put on armor, they would put the Meridian Seal. And you can see that there's also at 17, because you beat 15, you can see that as part of the Maker's Mark as well, there are 3 wavy lines and a right-hand tower, which is the Daorin Canton.
I'll be brutally honest, whomever you are, you're a little late. We killed them.
The foes are vanquished.
Yes.
Yes.
Truly, you're a guardian of some renown, to be able to have pulled me from the depths of reality.
Oh God, I hope I didn't. I'm in
Sure.
enough trouble as it is.
The resplendent golden armor disappears, and he happily trots around you and says, "What quest? What foe?"
And I
I
pet
sort
you.
of nudge Eclipse forward, and I'm like, "Go
Tell
on."
him all about the Heart of Jordan.
Can I
In
pet
a-
you while I tell you about the heart of
You may
Jordan?
indeed pet me. I see that your heart is true.
And I start petting him, and I start telling him all about the heart of Jordan.
You know, on the list of things that I expected to happen today, this was not on it. This was.
I must
not on
admit,
it.
this is my first time seeing a unicorn.
There's a reason for that. We don't appear for your kind.
Yeah, that makes
Ooh,
sense.
Shade. Do you mean tiefling or
Reasonable.
just evil lady?
He just looks at her and goes, "Her kind."
I'm gonna
I
take that
flick
as
Eclipse's
both.
ear at the evil lady bit because I'm like, be nice.
Not wrong.
I flick Iden's as well. Be nice, both of you.
I love that that's the impression, considering Glory is actually not evil.
I know she's
Yeah.
not actually evil.
Neither are you unicorn material.
Yeah. Yes. But yes, they've got those annoying, especially super pure of heart like caveats when it comes to everything, which is
Your
the
soul
whole
is
reason that Farewell stood there going, "Oh God, I hope I didn't screw up," but that was actually me, and please don't actually let it be me. Oh God,
You're
oh
not
God."
good. You're not evil. Your soul is just a bland oatmeal taste.
Yeah, I am like super vanilla. They haven't even put salt in there because it's too spicy. That's kind of the worry at the moment. Like,
That's so close to British food, it's crazy. But yeah, he turns and says, "Well, you don't need to be aided in battle. You don't need to be taken to safety. You don't even need healing." Oh, hello, little one, and heals Cora to full.
That would do it.
So, maybe I can guide you with wisdom or application of my power.
Might as well. Anyone want to fill him in on the last what?
Well, he's been
10
filled in on the
minutes?
heart of Juradan and says, yes, this seems to be... You seem to be well informed of the curse, of everything. I doubt that I would be able to break the curse. Well, unless I was actually there at this power source that you mentioned. At which point I will be able to render it asunder with the power imbued in me.
so what you're saying is that you could pop back in if we needed you to help, because it might not be now, it might be in like a little bit.
If your cause is true and your heart is pure, you can always call on Steve.
Yes. Yes, Steve.
You now have the summon Steve spell.
The summon Steve
No,
spell.
No,
he
you
can
don't.
only come through wild magic.
The only way
No,
you can
I
get it is
know.
to roll 47 or 48 on the wild magic table.
No, I know, but I still find the idea of like there's a spell just called summon Steve.
I sort of lean in and sort of whisper in his ear. There's a group of my family in Ostergold that probably could use someone of your nature to help ward them. They've been through 2 years of absolute hell, and I think being kind and pure as you could do them some good. Would you perhaps take that quest to help? As I think we're good at the moment.
Ordinarily, to ask for one such as me to protect one's family would be
Not protect, just cheer them up.
Would be in a way frivolous, slothful. One would normally need to protect one's family oneself. But
No, I'm not
I
asking you
can
to
tell
protect.
I can tell the truth in your words, champion. They have suffered
good.
greatly recently, very greatly.
Yeah.
I will bestow this blessing upon those that you have asked. You do not need to mention their names. I can take who they are from your heart itself, and I shall imbue them with my power. It will drive them to be of peaceful mind, of courage, to know that they can strive forward and make their way in this world once again. And yes, when needed, I shall protect them. Is this what you ask of me, Guardian?
Yes.
Very well. then by the power of Steve, this shall be done. He raises up on his hind legs. And as he does so, golden light blinds you and fills the world around you. All that is left when the light abates is multicolored flower petals falling down from the sky.
I don't know if he's actually going there because I think he only lasts for like a minute.
I'm just like, you know what? This
Did
is
that happen?
perfectly a good chance to take up drinking.
I thought my hawk was a little sunhawk was a little over the top, but I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah, I mean, not compared to the Pegasus that you also have.
Yeah, well, I'll just add this one to the collection, I guess, at some point.
Well, you have now
Right.
seen a
The
winged horse
Pegasus
and
is
now a
quite
white horse.
basic compared to the
Our lives.
what you've just seen. The Pegasus is literally just a horse with wings and some magical levitation. The Sunhawk is a fey creature, so yeah, fine. This seemed extra, and because I mentioned it in the break, but I may as well say it to the viewers. The legacy of Steve is that in a previous game that we played, one of my friends, Rich, who plays an Illyrian character, Fomancarius the Centaur, we rolled a 47 or 48 on the wild magic table of Lady Alexandra Diorin, who was a wild mage. And a unicorn turned up. And without missing a beat, Rich turned around and went, "Steve?" And I was just like, I can't not respond. At which point the unicorn turned around and went, "Fomancarius? It's been an age." And it became canon that Steve existed. He's not a unicorn. He's actually a manifestation of the Maelstrom, which is why he's so fucking powerful. For exactly 1 minute, he is very, very powerful, almost godlike power. So yes, he only exists for a minute, but the blessing he bestowed on your family seems to be real.
Very nice.
Hey. Okay.
And
So
now
we
I've got
are
to clip
live now.
Steve's entrance and send it to Rich. So anyway,
So that's our life now.
I mean, our lives are already so goddamn weird. This might as well happen.
Yeah, you know what? Yep, this is a Tuesday. I've just decided that today is not, of course, Tuesday, but it is. Because these things only should happen on a Tuesday, and thus, as these things keep happening to us, every day is now Tuesday. Time has no meaning. Life is chaos. Why bother? I
Eowyn,
need to lie down
everything.
again. I need to lie down again.
Eowyn flits onto your shoulder farewell, leans against your neck as if it was a tree, and goes, "You can make it Tuesday if you want." Chronomancer.
Don't. No.
You made your
If I
bed.
wasn't
now
worried. Yeah, exactly.
Sleep in it.
If I wasn't worried that it would potentially flick your head off, I'd flick you on the ear as well.
She stands up and, in a very Tinkerbell sticking out her tongue kind of pose, flits back over to Cora and kind of almost goes hanging for like a fist bump or a high five with Cora for giving you shit.
I totally fist bump her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that that's over, we still got a possible great evil brewing somewhere in a parallel sort of kind of dimension. And I don't think I'm going to sleep easy knowing that's a thing. So maybe we should...
Well, if it helps, it's a great evil that has been brewing for at least a couple of thousand of years.
That doesn't make me feel better.
Hmm.
I don't think they age like wine.
But they might.
They might.
No, go on. You get this one. I didn't know. This one's all yours. No, I've done my thing. You no, go on. I got the last one.
Besides, I'm just saying, we don't know if it has actually been a couple of thousand years for them. It could have just been 5 seconds.
That is entirely possible.
But it doesn't sound like it, and also the state of the corpse I saw did not suggest 5 seconds.
I'm expecting a more extended period. I'm more along
yeah.
the lines of the whole. We had to seal it to keep it all in part of this prophecy that keeps coming up again and again and again.
It does sound familiar. I think I've read something about a prophecy like that.
Oh, Herman
I mean-
just put out a very good thing for Aiden. So Aiden, what you saw was a personification of the Maelstrom. When you gonna find it?
1, Aiden doesn't know that. 2, not now.
He knows it now. So next time, maybe.
I'm just saying, all of our problems, a lot of what we deal with wouldn't be happening if magic wasn't a thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah. All I can think now is Aiden, Illyria, unplugged.
Considering how much of everyday life is reliant on magic in the fantasy worlds, I wonder what would happen if everything suddenly stopped.
Well, for one thing, you'd kill Corella.
Yeah,
Just the byproduct of killing a god.
yeah. That's
I mean,
one
why
byproduct.
not? We've met gods, offered gods to
Well,
come
to be
drink
fair,
with
you did
us.
say he was a part of making it.
What's the point of, we might as well kill gods. Next we'll be
Kill the
birthing
gods,
into
become the
existence.
gods,
Oh
rule
God,
the
I wouldn't want to
world.
become could you imagine?
Rule the world.
Stop that pattern, because that means at some point Glory has to bed a god.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, also, farewell.
how
you
do
were
we
the
know she
one-
How
hasn't.
hot was the Raven Queen?
Well, it's a matter of perspective, as with all things.
She's kind of a
Farewell,
drab.
stop putting things out
wears
into
armor.
the world.
Yes, I know. I completely agree, Aiden. I shouldn't do that. And
I love that that's flipped on his head. That was all he was saying one episode was, don't put that out into the world.
I flicked
Yeah.
both of Glory's ears. I'm like, no. No. We should no.
Grand Glory.
I mean, I don't think I can get, higher than that.
Most of the depictions of the Raven Queen is of a dynamic female warrior in what seems to be full plate, almost paladin-like armor. Whether or not that's PR showing through, a bit of marketing, or if she's actually that hench, who knows?
All I'm going to say is my god is the buffest god. The buffest god in the world. I mean, she literally says to all the demons, come at me, Scrub Lord, I'm ripped.
I have a feeling I need to contact Michelle and say I may need you again. Who again, she's the canonical voice of the Raven Queen in Illyria. So,
Yeah. Anyways,
what are you doing?
Where to next?
I snap my finger and we're backing Ostergold.
Yeah, huge lurch. Give me a D100, but I think you only fail on
D100.
There's certain failures that you don't even get now because of what you're doing.
So that is a 79.
79. Yep. On location. Yeah. Not just Ostergal, but where you intended to go in Ostergal.
Okay, we're like in the alley next to the Hork harness because I didn't want to bamf us in the middle of the street, just to the side,
Yeah.
Again, refer to the image that I sent to the general Discord for just this type of thing.
I do be like, if it's time for lunch.
Oh God, is it just lunch? Okay.
Yeah. It's the thing about teleportation. You go, oh my God, that was a hard day. And you go, what do you mean it's only 1 p.m.?
What a week, huh? It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
All days are Tuesday.
And the best thing is, Farrell has already had a nap today, and it's lunch.
I mean, I almost died. I think
Yeah.
I'm entitled to a nap.
You're
I
entitled to a
almost
nap.
died. Wah.
I flick a clips on the nose. Just remember that the next time you almost die behind some crates. They've got to
That was
stay.
one time. You have almost died more than I have.
Yes, well, whose fault's that?
Yours. You keep running head first into things. You should hide.
He's the tank. That's their job.
Yeah, but this is Eclipse logic. I can
Well,
hide, so
actually,
you should
Farrell
too.
has the lowest health pool out of all of us.
Out of
He
all
should
of
have-
us, yes. The highest
Yeah.
AC, but the lowest health pool.
Hello, I think I have the highest.
Bully
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, and the displacement earring. Yeah, the sorceress has the highest hit points. I feel some shame should be felt by someone.
I mean, I'm feeling it. I'm the one feeling it, if that means anything.
Okay. So, armed with this new information and some experiments to run, some research to do,
Yeah, but that won't be
a
until
path to follow.
sunset.
What are you going to do? Yeah. If you say you're doing that at sunset, I'm happy to kind of mishmash back and forth across the
Yeah,
day. So if
right,
you want to do
yeah.
it at sunset, we can talk about that too.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is because like, Aiden is going to need like help from people at the Duskhold and the books to be able to like
and
figure out
arguably
what
the party as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
what the fuck is going on with these canoptic jars. So yeah.
Yes, and Eclipse won't part with them, so you have to take her with you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the excuse she uses anyway.
Oh yeah, the tough feet, Scorn. The tough feet, definitely. Hill dwarf druid with the tough feet. Yeah. Try and take that down, motherfucker.
All right.
Okay. Amongst yourselves, what do you want to do to arm yourself with information for the next for the next thing?
Well, we were gonna knock out both of the jars in quick succession, weren't we?
Well, yes, we're planning to go to the next jars when.
Glory will spend the day sorting through the books she looted, talk a bit to the guy, like just have an academic conversation with someone who can keep up with her and on the subject,
Right.
while looking through the books. She will put in like notes on pages where she finds spells that she knows the Farewell can use.
Yeah.
To make it a bit quicker for him.
Okay. So
Later
Farewell
on.
starts being fed a whole library of level 1, level 2 spells.
Woo!
Yeah. So basically, when you have the time, you already have on your D&D Beyond or your books how long it takes to scribe. Any time that you're taking time off, if you all collectively agree to take a week off, you can scribe.
Cool.
I am going to, in the meantime, because most of our, like, what Aiden's gonna be able to do when it comes to this is gonna be until the Duskhold is able to open.
Take a nap so you can work all night.
I mean, yes, actually, very good idea. But the other thing I was thinking is, like, maybe Aiden is also working on what is now his, like, personal project of uniting the rest of the Blood Hunters, so he's probably gonna figure out where to go next, who to talk to, that sort of thing.
Sure. A bunch of orbs, an orb, a mirror. Trying to think what would it be. It would be an orb, a mirror, and a bowl get brought to you. When you mention that you want to find out the latest from the other clans.
Are we in the Duskhold now with them?
No,
Um,
no, this is in the lead up to. This
Yeah.
is the rest of the day.
Okay. If you're not in the Duskhold yet, you won't be brought these items. But when you do mention it to them in the Duskhold, you will be brought an orb, a mirror, and a bowl. and get told that each one of them are communication devices.
All right, but yeah.
Okay.
Until
so-
then, until then, Aiden is gonna nap.
Sure. Okay.
Nocturnal
Valid.
nap.
Okay. So, what are the rest of you doing before Duskfall?
Sure.
If anything.
Farewell is going to shamelessly steal from the great sorcerer supreme himself, and you'll probably, if you do go into his room, you'll see him sort of sat cross-legged, floating a good sort of like 30 feet off. No, not 30 feet, about 10 feet off the bed.
Yeah.
And just you'll notice that there's like what looks to be 7 or 8 different farewells, and like one's writing in a book, another one's like doing like
Are you
he's
doing
creating
weird time stuff?
is creating sort of geometric shapes. Another one looks to be sort of like walking around the room reading something. Another one is sort of like that, but they're not perfect facsimiles of farewell. They're like they're more like remember PlayStation 1 graphics, where everything was made out of like really rough, blocky polygons?
Yes.
They're like that. It's like Farewell is experimenting with a combination of like mirror images, but the unseen like servant spells to try and create in effect copies of himself that can do things, because he's realizing that with all the magic he's being fed by Glory and all of the other things that they need to research, he can't do it all at once, and he's doesn't want to go we'll just slow down time to spread out a single second of time for hours. He probably could try, but he's not good enough yet to control that, whereas using the magic that he's learning to create in effect multiple versions of him that are kind of overlapping with one another to learn things and grow things, because he also wants to spend some time researching the spell that Eclipse found that talks about how they pulled that city. So he's going to be reading that book, he's going to be working on his own spells, he's going to be learning stuff, and then there's going to just be another bit of one of him that's just trying to sort of like, he pulls out like the sword that he's been given, and is just like really badly, like, you remember the original Amiga version of Prince of Persia, Simon?
Oh wow, yeah,
I
remember.
all the old school references to show how fucking old I am.
Yep.
I'm all here for it. I don't mind.
Yeah. Go
It's
for
fine.
it.
We had Golden Axe mentioned in the chat. We are amongst friends. This is a safe space to be old.
Yeah, basically there's a version of him that's sort of like doing all the sort of moves that he learned, that's finally getting around to practice like that. And then in the center of all of this, eyes closed, hands on top of one another, sort of just floating in the middle of the room, is the actual original Farewell, with all these different multiple versions of him doing all different kind of things, but again are full-on PS1 polygon messes.
Yeah. Okay. You find that it holds it together. The thing you do notice is that you lose a certain amount of concentration as you do it, because even though you don't have to have the forethoughts of all of your copies, they do share the same subconscious, and it gets a bit busy.
Yeah. This is the first time he's trying this sort of thing, so it's one of those ones like, can I do it? Oh, I can, and no one's screaming at me. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think a mashup of mirror images and Unseen Servant is a really cool idea.
Nice.
I would say that's it. The multiple casting is difficult. I would say that the casting, it does get difficult trying to do too many things at the same time.
Yeah, but that's the fun of having the rest of the day to play and burn up spell slots and not have to worry about certain things, is that you can sit there and play.
I mean,
like
considering our how it's been going so far when we've been left alone.
Oh yeah. I'm truly expecting this to come and bite me in the ass. I mean, there will be a moment where like one of them will like come out of his room, walk into the middle of like the bar, walk over it into like the stores where the thing is, and like because they can't really talk at them or anything, just writes on and hands Noki a piece of paper that just says, "Hi Noki, could I please have some?" And it's just like a list of food and drink. Please just place on a tray and I will take it back into my room. Thanks. Farewell. And it just there's this like polygon farewell that just stands there waiting for it like that.
Nice. I'll be right back. The guy downstairs is smoking and it's coming up through my window, so I need to close it.
Oh.
Oof.
Yeah, it's been bothering us the last few days. I'm wondering, can we complain about that?
Well, I mean, if his I don't know if his tenancy says he's not allowed to
Is it
smoke
tobacco or is it
house.
weed?
It's tobacco.
Oh,
Ah.
it's tobacco. It's definitely not weed.
It's probably he doesn't want to go outside, and so he's just leaning out of the window.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
I don't
but that
think he's. I don't think anyone's allowed to smoke inside these flats.
There you go.
house
So he
agreement.
should be going outside.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the I would say I did make a bunch of spells way back when, like Excellence's pocket portals, where I started putting keywords in, kind of drawing on my Magic the Gathering days. So amplify, infect, and kind of a type of kicker as well, almost taking that directly from Magic. But hell, they're all the same company now, so fuck it.
Yeah, they are. Technically.
They are.
They are the same
they're
company,
all
yeah.
the same
And
company,
because
yeah.
they're releasing a D&D magic pack in like
Yeah, well.
Oh, it's coming up
5
very
days.
soon, yeah.
Driz
On
is
5
a
days.
card now.
Yeah,
yeah,
Magic,
it's in
Magic
5
Arena.
days. Yeah, 5 days in Arena. In 5 days, the new packs are being released. Which
I
is...
tell you what, I want to see Lolth and Liliana duke it out, man. Yeah.
Oh, well, they have
Anyways.
Lolth.
Yeah, they have Lolth. Yeah, that's
yeah.
the thing. You can literally do Lolth versus Liliana now.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, I might end up writing that spell, Nick.
Sure.
Because there's a few things I could do, to make it happen. So I like that. I also made a bunch of cantrips where you can do a thing called flourish. So this cantrip may be added to a spell before or after as a bonus action, and succeeds if the spell succeeds, or fails if the spell fails, or you can cast the cantrip on its own. So yeah, and then it depends on the level of the spell, adds the additional thing. So it's a cantrip that can also be a bolt onto a spell. But yeah, I'll come up with a way of making that work actually, because I like the idea of that spell, and we need more Illyrian spells. Also somewhere to put it. Maybe somewhere on the Discord I can put the
Yeah, well, create a channel, throw them in there.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll get onto it. I have a few like things I need to fix in the Discord, anyways.
Yeah.
Also, really
So, what else would you guys like to do?
Come say hi to the Pixel Farewells.
Terrifying.
Well, Glory will probably like raise an eyebrow when she comes in to like hand Farewell a book to like, here, check out these pages, but hand it back to me afterwards.
Will do. Thank you. And
Also,
then you
that
just
one
watch as he
seems
hands
to
it off
be
to
a
one
bit
of them.
unstable.
Well, it is the first time I've done this, you know.
Oh yes,
so-
I'm just pointing out that one specifically. You might need an extra focus on it.
Okay. There's that moment where he's sort of, you can see his sort of eyes twitch a bit and his brow furrows, and he's like, and then like whilst that one gets like more solid, 2 or 3 of them like start like wibbling even more, and then like they sort of all begin to oscillate, and then they all sort of hold back up together.
There you go.
This is harder than I thought it would be.
Oh, new spells are always like that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I just wish they looked better.
I think that comes with practice. You're basically splitting your brain in order to comprehend all of the different tasks at once.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm probably not going to get all of this in, but
No, you'll need to do it
With
a few
time.
times.
yeah, but with time I could do that, and there you go. You know, we could have an army of farewells to smite our foes.
Oh no.
What?
That one's wobbling again.
Aiden's loading a clock and aiming at the maelstrom.
Yeah, they're literally like you see the little loading sign appear on him as he lags. It's like and then he starts moving again.
Eowyn on Cora's shoulder goes, he's going to be insufferable. He's going to say, 3 of me died yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, he's already insufferable. We just have to now deal with it multiple times.
There's like 4 hands that all reach over and just like one after another.
You're so lucky, Aiden.
It's sharper. The fingers have corners, yeah.
You're so lucky that Aiden is asleep right now, because otherwise he would be fucking roasting you to hell.
Incidentally, in general chat, I put Excellence's pocket balls.
Yeah, I saw.
I like Excellence's pocket ball. I have to remember
Yeah, those
that.
were great.
But yes, well, you know, I'm not technically fucking with time because this is not time magic. This is magic. I'm just.
And it's magic that is happening in the current time frame and not a past
Exactly.
or future.
And I haven't been teleported any weird places. I haven't.
Just be careful and keep an eye out on your magic flow. Otherwise, you might end up closer to the unstable magic that some mages rely on.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this up for a couple more hours, then I'm gonna stop, and then that'll be me for the day, and then I'm probably gonna get an early night, so I can get up.
Yeah, you're
early
gonna
and have
need a
good
full
start.
8 after that.
Oh yeah, this is. I'm going for a solid 8 hours of like the hardcore sleep.
The non-existence one? Yeah, a full day of spellcasting does that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll be back with more books in a bit. I found
Thank
an
you.
interesting bit here.
So yeah, you've got the equivalent of medieval post-it notes, which are just bits of paper shoved in between pages, feathered out the top, saying, yeah, this one's the snare spell, this one here is, minor illusion, and yeah, so cool. Okay.
Basically, you can pick out the spells you want, because Glory is thumbing through them to find the bits she needs for other projects.
I feel like we're fucking way too much with the fabric of reality. This is becoming a bad habit.
Yeah.
There'll
This
be
is
also
what I want to
Glory...
see at this level. At this level, I want more breaking of the rules.
Oh yeah, there's
because-
definitely going to be like glory-colored tabs and farewell-colored tabs. Because I know that Glory is extra enough that she has enough colored paper somewhere where she could actually do that.
Oh yeah.
You have a feeling
Glory...
that some of them are bits of fabric from out-of-fashion clothing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, at least I know which bits are mine.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look at the ones that she's tabbed up for herself. You don't want to have this conversation today. Don't look at the ones that she's tabbed up for herself. You don't want to have this conversation today. And then there's just one of them that's completely repeating that mantra. It's not actually saying anything, but you can see his little head nodding backwards and forwards as if he's trying to talk.
You just hand off that train of thought to someone else.
It's like full on.
And then one of them opens one of the pages and is like, how to trap void energies.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, my subconscious fucking me again, and it's like, oh no.
I'd like to
now
think
I
that,
see that.
just to fuck with you extra much, the content is bad, but also the bookmark is a G-string and it's not one of hers. So
yeah, and it's like, oh, my life is so terrible.
You and me both. I'm not there, but still. Aiden would be.
Aiden agrees in his sleep. It's so profound.
Yes.
Okay. Dusk is fast approaching. Anything before dusk and before the dusk cold and your long rest?
Other than going to, I'm going to take my findings to
Garrett?
Garrett. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The wizard is overjoyed as they're saying, I can't believe it. You're making this look almost easy. You went there. You spoke to him. The book. Do you have the book?
Yes, I have the book.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I am not letting the book be live with you. Currently, the book lives
you
with
can
me.
share the book. for the purposes of this and the sake of getting the story forward,
Eclipse just literally said, "Mom said it's my turn with a sentient book."
Yes. She's gone. Mum says that I can have it now. You've had your go on it. It's mine. No.
You present it to Garrett. He has a long and boring conversation, mostly going over historical details, because you can tell he's writing a book about this. He's got a stack of notes about a foot tall on his desk. And he says, how fascinating, living history. We have living history. And this theory that you possess the talent that's I've just seen the Discord in the corner of my eye. Well done. Well played, Rodrigo. It means that you have literally been chosen. You are chosen to tread the path of future history. I mean, and past history at once by bringing the two together. Do you think that you and your compatriots would be able to breach between these two layers of existence, this patch of existence?
I mean, it's not the strangest things we've done, so yes.
And the thing that I'm getting, I thought there were 7 jars. There's 6. 6 jars.
Yes, there's 6 jars. I still think there's a 7th.
We were always... Well, the fellow here says there's 6, at which point Sunrise definitely turns around and says, yes, there's only 6. We only had 6.
Yes, that you know of.
Good point, says the book. But 6 that were given to the generals, which means 6 that you need to get to follow the path into the city. If indeed there is a 7th, as you theorize, it'll be in the city.
Yes.
How wonderful. That means you're literally just 2 away to be able to get there. I wonder how the path will reveal itself to you. Is it that it's fated that you would have the compatriots that you have to be able to find it, or is it just simply having all the jars together in one place will somehow trigger some moment, some eureka thought, a vision perhaps? It's quite fascinating. I certainly would want to be there. I would want to be there when you get the 6th.
I mean, it's very hazardous, so that's the only concern.
I'm happy to stand back until you are victorious and come in at the end. I'm no slouch in being able to defend myself. I may not be able to defeat the type of foes that you are able to defeat, but I am well versed in shielding, and I can manipulate my speed. I can protect myself and run. He has long strider and shield.
His moment.
I mean, yes. I mean, theoretical work is one thing, but if you've never been in the field, you just don't feel qualified to be able to speak on the matter. Even though
I'm happy for it, but as long as you're sure what you're doing.
I go and take the 5th yourself, but the 6th, whichever way round you choose to have it, I insist on being with you.
Well, I think we probably need to do the Risali, because I'm not taking you to the Risali Tower. I'm gonna take you to the other place, which is the Baron Mine. Seems safer.
I would agree with that, Rosali. Rumlots. Terrible being. Yes. And no code of ethics, no professionalism. Just yes. You go clear out that nest of vipers. And yes, a mine. I'm perfectly fine going down into a mine. I am an archaeologist after all.
Yes. I think the mine is probably yes. I mean,
very true.
So yeah, we'll just take you down into the mine of wrath. The mine of what?
Yeah,
The mine of wrath. No worries. Don't worry about it.
Everything is fine.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
We've been fine so far, you know.
So just 2 canopic jars left. You must be excited, Eclipse. He grabs you by the hands and says, "This is what you wanted your entire life."
Oh yes, I am so excited. I don't know what to do with myself.
Well,
whereas like the rest of us are like anxiously thinking about the ramifications of what might
I'm just like, oh, whatever.
He closes the book unceremoniously. He believes that it is literally just a bit of living history. He doesn't find it rude just shutting someone up. He flops down on the sofa, this kind of study area that you guys have used. Just 3 sofas around a coffee table, littered with books. He crashes down on one of the sofas. You've been there enough times that you do the same. And he goes, think of it. You're going to restore a quintessential part of the Nauru history, the Nauru character, culture, legacy, back to your people. I mean, why?
Yes.
I know the Nauru are not big on heroes. They believe everybody treads their own path, but you must, to some, suddenly become as much of a hero as Jordan himself.
I don't know. All I'm doing is collecting some jars. I mean, they're important to me, but they're not important to everybody.
But why are they important to you? That's my question.
Because of the story.
That's it, isn't it? Every life, everybody is a story. Some are unremarkable but comfortable. Love of the family, compatriotism, of shared labor, building a city, being part of a greater whole. And others go for more, well, glorious pursuits. And for you, you're going after one of the most glorious stories in all of Illyrian history. Why would you say that you were drawn to that? Give me a perception check.
Uh-oh.
What are you saying?
I think he's trying to figure out your motives for his book. You need to write you well.
Yes, yeah, he's writing his.
That would be insight, but carry on.
Yes.
I don't feel good about this.
Okay. No, that's persuasion. That's not perception. Perception.
Aren't you good at that?
Where is that perception? I'm proficient in it. 17.
17. Yeah, as you're answering his questions, you do hear the scritching of a quill somewhere.
Yes, and then and then you said insight. 20, dirty 20.
Yeah, he's absolutely interviewing you for his book. So,
As he should.
why would you be pursuing the story of greatness? Would you say that you wanted a challenge above and beyond that which other people would go for? Other people adventure for riches, for fame, for glory, and yet you are pursuing a story without actually wanting to make one yourself, other than your own personal story. You've not released this to anybody else, save myself and other good friends. You've not gone back to the Narukan temple and decried to them that you are on the path asking for their help. Arguably, you could get scores of Naru to come and help you with the path of Jordan. Why do you take this path on your own, save but only for the friends that you collected along the way?
My part.
Because I haven't really thought that far. Because that's
There
just that
you-
away.
You did it! You broke down Eclipse to the most bare essentials!
I didn't think.
I just did!
I mean, no one said she was complex.
No. No one said she needed to be complex.
She doesn't need to be complex. She is a cat with zoomies, but the zoomies have a particular direction, and on she zooms.
Well, no, so... well, no, I assume the reason is really because it's something that I felt is mainly my thing to do. It's always seen, it's the story that's been that it's one tabaxi that will clear the path. The thing that kind of made me do it in the first place was this tabaxi that broke into the the museum in Naruka and then told
He
me
gestures with his fingers, and a note comes off a pile and floats down in front of him and says, "Yes, I spoke to her.
Yes.
She was pursuing you and contacted me in the process."
Yes, I've spoken to her now, since then.
Are you aware that all she did when she made that theft was she gave the item back to the temple the next day?
I didn't know she gave it back. She gave me the item she stole, which is this weird thing.
The temple said that it belonged to her now. Instead of punishing her for the theft, when she gave it back and explained, they said it belonged to her and that its story was incomplete.
That sounds like the temple, yes. But yes, that was the initial reason, and I just...
You don't quite get what I'm saying, Eclipse. She only stole that item so that you could watch her steal it.
How did she know who I was? I was just a tiny little kitten.
Further mysteries to reveal. The rest of after a while you hear the pen stop, and it doesn't carry on scritching for the rest of the time. He brings in tea, he talks to you socially, less formally, and yeah, it's pleasant. You get back in time to see Aiden standing in the road, waiting for the inevitable arch. Aiden, who are you taking into the Duskhold with?
I mean, obviously Eclipse, sadly. Not really given much choice there.
She won't take the jars out of her bag if you don't let her in.
Actually, I was thinking, fuck it, because that way it makes things easier for everyone. Fuck it, does everyone want to come to the Duskhold?
Sure.
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet,
yeah.
so.
Okay.
Yes, for a reason.
The party follow you in, and thankfully, with your will on the twisting corridors, none of them get left behind. And very soon, 13 large mezzanine balconies, the face against a similarly tall atrium that has tall, gangly, dark trees as if they're growing in the Shadowfell. You do see that Lucrezia is still flying around, but in this case she is now using it for a different means, and she's currently coaching a bunch of blood hunters, Canelm blood hunters, not all of them blood members, but new recruits as well, on attacking a flying creature if you yourself cannot fly and have no ranged attacks. She's teaching them Pseudo Dragon 101, how to hold an action. So yeah, you guys come in and you see a blood hunter flying around, and you can see
Not bad.
practice swords as they're holding an action, basically
Flying.
batter up, and when she gets nearby they're trying to whack her with practice swords.
Flying. I turn.
Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it.
But I can already
No.
turn into a butt.
We are guests here, and we should be really good around the crazy murder people.
The crazy
Please
bird.
be good around the blood hunters.
Welcome to the
that'll be
Unhinged
fun.
Van Helsing Academy. How can I slaughter you today?
Exactly.
They're better than you
They're
think.
doing it wrong. If they're aiming for normal flying creatures, they should be getting ready to slash at the wings, because that way they
Lori,
won't be
don't
able
make
to
me
get
regret
away
inviting
again.
you in here.
No, I'm just giving a tip. Like, if they aim for where the wings would be, that way they can't get away
giving
again.
constructive criticism. let's just get to business so we can get this over with as quickly and as painless as possible.
Okay. As you're coming up the stairs, you do see that Hector is coming down the stairs, contributing with the training. He's carrying some very sharp-looking mithril grappling hooks with mithril chains. And he doesn't even know that you guys are here. The grappling hooks are actually bladed grappling hooks. And he goes, right, so that's one way of doing it. Then the other way of doing it is to get a really great big grappling hook and stick it in the bugger at distance. Now, it does mean that you have to... Oh, hello.
Hello, Hector.
I'm just going through the spiking training.
Yeah, I figured.
Oh, the gang's all here.
Yeah,
Hello.
the gang's all here because sadly we bring some news.
Well, I've got some myself.
About
There's,
Jonathan.
yeah, sure. Do whatever you want with that. I'm busy. But the there are some items. There are some items for you up on the 7th floor. Come on.
I'll take a look at those later.
Sure. And
Anyways.
he just walks off. He's done with this shit. He just walks off. You do hear him kind of continue with the story. Now, that's one way of doing it, but you only get a hit every now and again, and they can pick things up and drop things on you. Now, these, on the other hand, and you see he's swinging around this bladed mithril grappling hook. Now, this means that you'll be strapped to a dragon. The downside is, and you carry on walking up.
So I says to
downside?
Mabel, says,
You're strapped to a dragon.
so I says to
see the
Mabel,
downside.
all right.
Don't worry,
But
Gory.
yeah, I'm gonna get Olivia and my
Oh, Olivia gets to
Iden's-
deal with all of us again. Yay!
and Iden's mom, so because they're
yeah.
really want to see this.
So Iden's mum, for those of you who haven't met her, is currently wearing a dress, which is a little jarring for Iden because she never used to wear them. She is wearing a number of accoutrements now, which you recognize, all of you, not just Farewell, as having some obeisance to the Raven Queen. There's other sigils to Pelor. It seems to be that she's not a specific cleric, but is kind of like a spiritualist for the Kanem family. And you can see that she has a couple of books under her arm. Again, this, consummate fighter, this warrior, blood hunter, and she looks almost ethereal herself. Instead of the blacks that you normally see Iden wearing, most of her costume is based on white to maybe dove grey. And she looks slightly elderly now, but calm, peaceful, smiling. She's chatting to Olivia. Olivia sees that you're all there, runs forward and unabashedly kisses Iden on the cheek, and then says, "It's been a while, friends. It's been, well, since Valentine's Day."
It has.
It's been, yes.
You all look well. You look well trained. You can see that she herself is dressed slightly different. She hasn't got the piper's jacket on that you almost saw her on all the time, with the kind of, for those of you who've seen the music video for the Black Parade, kind of like that. It took a while for me to figure out, actually, yeah, it's that, but it's, no, hers was black and silver. And then with like a kind of, in amongst the silver, there was like a green in the piping as well. And she now is wearing a loose blouse, still kind of leather trews, still the badass boots. You can't take that away from the girl.
No.
And her hair used to be bunched up quite tight, quite militaristic. Now it's kind of a little looser than not, trailing down her back. And she used to stride with purpose. Here, of all places, she kind of saunters. This is her home. It's clear that she's relaxed here.
Well,
It's good
so
to see you happy.
She smiles in a way that says I am, even though you know that she would never say that she was.
well, would really love to catch up over some food and drinks. Sadly,
You're here to
Circum-
research, and we're here to help.
thank you. Eclipse, do you have the jars?
Yes.
Can you please just show them one of it?
I
Whichever.
grab out all 4 jars and put them in front of Olivia.
You know what? Sure. That works too.
Olivia looks at them and goes, do you see this? And sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Aiden's mother?
God, her name. I wrote it down. I'll give it to you in a moment. I'm just gonna look at the old ass document where I wrote it.
I'm having a brain fart as well. So many characters. But yeah, Aiden's mother looks at it, and the second that she looks at the canopic jars, her eyes turn from bran to a kind of almost glowing white light, and she says, "Those are powerful, insanely powerful." And
Scale.
as
What scale are we talking? Are we talking like plane shattering powerful, or nuking an entire city powerful, or?
no,
Well,
just
They
they're
were
relevant-
used to technically erase a city from existence while not
True.
it at the same
Semantics.
time.
Semantics. I still want to know what we're dealing with here.
They're powerful compared to any ghost that I've seen. This is spiritual energy. It contains the essence of a being, a single being. As Olivia gets closer, all of the canopic jars start to glow with an eldritch energy, a thin silver light that you know to be ghostly energy. Olivia says, "It reacts to my aura. It's not dead."
Oh,
Huh.
interesting.
This is spirit energy. The same thing that would create a ghost, but it's the spirit with no soul. I mean, it's not. These aren't phylacteries. They would react differently.
Wait, you say it's a spirit without a soul?
Where have I heard
It's
that
spirit
before?
energy, but it's not a phylactery as well.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that
Eclipse,
adds up.
remind me again what state were you told Jordan was in?
Well, the vision I had, he was like a corpse, but I could hear like he's speaking, but he wasn't moving. It was just a corpse sitting on a throne.
So, I
I
feel that's just this continues to prove what I believe in. This what we've been carrying so far. It's Jordan, I think.
Olivia turns to you, Aiden, and says, "Darling, I'd like to try something, if I may."
Sure.
She walks up to Aiden, goes for a hug, and you've done this before. You know what's about to happen. You catch her now lifeless body as she steps out, and you watch.
Oh, this is always freaky.
You watch a ghostly Olivia shedding off her body as much as anybody would shed off a coat.
Oh, that's new.
Stepping out of her body in her ghost form.
I
And-
never get used to this.
Aren't we supposed to
he's got
strike her
he's got
down
his dead
now?
weight body that he's just putting off to the side.
I'm just gonna put her somewhere comfortable.
Yeah, you've done it before. It's like, you know,
I'm
It's
so down there.
it's fine.
It's just
it's
not what
fine.
you're supposed to hunt.
It's complicated. Just trust her.
I believe the thing I'm just trying to say that not even the hunt can stop true love.
Olivia looks back, and the ghost Olivia is wearing the Piper's jacket. She looks back at you and says, "I'm unique." And
She's literally just built different.
she walks up to the canopic jars and goes, "I can hear you. No, I can hear you. Well, I can hear that you're trying to communicate. It's coming out as shrieking. If you could just can you speak?
You turn the volume down.
Can you speak the common tongue?"
I assume he's speaking to Baxi.
And she turns to Aiden's mother and goes, "Comprehend languages?" She nods and smiles. Suddenly casts comprehend languages on Olivia. It hurts to hear you, but I know you're trying to communicate.
I speak to the jars in Tabax Asian.
I am Olivia. I speak to the jars.
No, as in I speak to the jars in Tabaxi, trying to emulate the old Tabaxi accent as much as I've studied it. And I tell them to try and calm it.
The jars are trying to reply, but it's a cacophony.
Maybe it's because it's only 4 of them.
There are more to get?
Yes.
Oh, maybe that's it, but we're going to find the rest of you. If you can hear me, we're going to find the rest of you.
We're going to find the rest of you. I repeat what she says in Tabaxi.
Yeah, we cannot hear you, please. Oh, it's gone silent.
Oh, I wonder. I cast detect thoughts.
Okay. Sure.
Interesting.
Oh boy.
Don't melt your brain, please. We kind of need that.
Yeah, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Even to hear the surface thoughts?
Well, considering how Olivia was reacting.
17.
Yeah.
Okay. 17. Which wasn't bad, to be fair. You only missed out by 1. Unfortunately, I rolled a 19 on 2d10. Take 19 psychic damage as the screaming fills your head. Olivia turns around and goes, "No, I'm insulated against that stuff." And she goes up and puts her ghostly hands on your head, and prevents any further damage being taken. And she goes, No, don't go in there.
Ow.
I am going to step in, and I'm going to. Well, the motion is symbolic with Olivia because she's currently a ghost, but it's practical with Eclipse. I am going to, take pull them away from the.
Pull them back.
Yeah, pull it. I would rather you two not having your head exploding on my watch. I would really appreciate that.
Does that mean they're allowed to when not on your watch?
In Atlas Around, it's all about the wording.
I mean, please, and Glorious, my student I had today, when he was taking it as a joke. He took everything I said extremely literally. I said, "Write that," and then he wrote literally that.
I think Aiden is just gonna go snap his fingers, and on the roll, it's gonna appear like the guest rules of the Dusk Hold. one of the first rules is gonna appear is no semantics.
Don't sass the commander.
I mean, in our defense, magic does require a certain level of specificity.
And that's why it must be destroyed.
Olivia goes, "Leave it for now. Get the other 2, and we'll try again." She runs up to her body.
That's how we carry Eclipse away, Hermit. Is that we grab her by the scruff of the neck like she's a kitten again, and then pull
I
her
honestly
backwards.
want Tabaxi to have that loose bit of skin on the back of their neck where if you grab it, they just go, "Okay."
Fine, Mom.
Also,
I won't
there must
climb
be-
the ceiling this time.
Also, there must be some Tabaxis somewhere in the world where if you flip them on their side, they play dead.
Yeah.
Or if you
don't know what I'm on about, look at
I also
Ragdoll
think
Cats.
that, like, whilst everyone thinks that tabaxi are really good escape artists, what people don't realise is if you put a simple harness on them, they all flop over and just stop moving. Like they're like, you know, like those goats that can paralyse themselves and and just like flop over. That's what happened to a tabaxi. You just put a harness on it, it's incapable of moving.
Yep.
We're going.
Suddenly it
It's
doesn't realize how to function.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yep.
how do I move?
Yeah. Anyways, we are going to get the rest of the jars, but we are coming to some realizations, and we really want some more information before we continue.
Well, let's get into
Would
the
you-
library then. She break falls on top of her body, and seamlessly her body jerks, and she does that whole thing where you kick your legs up and immediately land on your feet.
Impressive. A 9 out of 10.
She looks at you with a shriveling look and goes, 9.
9. Yeah. Would you be able to ascertain what type of, like, I imagine there's soul slash souls in there. Would you be able to ascertain whether there were mortal souls, demonic, or devil?
You probably could, yes. I mean, spiritual energy is an echo. I tell the commander of the Silver Hunt this.
Yes.
When you find a ghost, the soul is long gone. It's as much as we call them tortured souls, they are part of the being that needs to be reunited with the soul in order for them to move on. In some cases, they are completely divorced from the soul. The soul has moved on, and they are just echoes of trauma, literal bundles of psychic energy, living memories and experiences, depending on which type of undead we have. You notice that she's not turned to Aiden here, she's turned to everyone else, because she's like, I know you know this. She does kind of give a nod of recognition to the cleric of the Raven Queen as well, who goes, yeah, it's basic training. She says, but yes, we are able to divine spirit energy with a ritual and find out what it came from.
That would probably be useful in this case.
Also, I'll have the items brought down from 7 because I think the library's on 6. I'll have the items brought down to 7. You need to speak to the other clans.
Yeah, I really do. I turn to the others. You're my guests. Make yourselves at home. You get access to anywhere you want, except you, Glory. You don't get access to the library. No, don't ask. Yeah, I got some rather colorful business to take care of.
As Aiden gestures, the 2 large double doors to this mixture of gothic and steampunk library, very Dark Souls, opens up, and you can see old, beaten, battered tomes, some with iridescent, oily skin, others a type of leather binding that suggests it's not quite leather. Some are a deep dark red, suggesting the skin of some sort of exotic animal. Others are, as you would expect, from a mage of means, beautifully bound and gilded. And it goes on for 3 floors internally. It only takes up 1 of the 13 floors, but 3 mezzanine levels of books. Reading.
You're not allowed.
Reading desks.
No.
Reading desks and pretty much a hub, a center that you'll be able to do your research with regard to this. There's also divining tools and other such things as well that a magical scholar would need to use. And you walk in there with the canopic jars, questions. A few blood hunters walk in with a mirror, a bowl, and an orb. And plenty of things to do next session.
Well then, since I'm not allowed into the library, how about I tell you about our travels and all the embarrassing moments Aiden would rather not you know? As Glory turned to his mom.
By the way, yeah, I just found that. I just remember what her Aiden's mom name is, which is hilarious now. Gloria.
Gloria.
It's Gloria.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you said it's hilarious, I went, "Oh shit, isn't it?" Yeah, Gloria Canelm says, "Do you like tea?"
I do.
I don't know if
yeah.
this was a good decision. I don't know.
Yeah, she'll take glory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yes, that is we're going to park. We've got some Aiden stuff to do. We've got all of you. So all of you can contribute to this. This is a wonderful library. You've got another library in your bags that you can dump off here. You can also, as well, if you want, go and get extra books from the Witch Queen. You now have managed to collect quite the repository of knowledge, and start deciding what you want to do for the remainder of the campaign. Juradan has been something that has been recommended to you, and I think you're going to follow that to its end. But after that, it's time for you guys to go on the initiative and to start telling more of the story than I'm telling. Mm-hmm. And that is that we're going to start going more freeform on the higher levels as to how you're going to prepare for the return of the architect. Until then, a big thank you to Rodrigo, Felicia, Nick, Corinne, and especially Kate today. I don't know if you know, but Kate is absolutely shattered and yet still went above and beyond and agreed to produce still for today.
Sorry I didn't contribute much, but it was fun just sitting back, to be honest, sometimes.
I think I had the most insightful line where, just came out of nowhere. You went, "That's you."
Yeah, I just come in and just give a few little moments.
No, John, you are the demons.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Turn the mirror on yourself.
Yes, a big thank you to you all for your story today. And as always, I'm Simon, and pleasure to be your TM. Big thank you to Scumfused Hermit again.
Yay.
Thank you for bringing Steve into our midst.
Finally, and they did it after every week of wild magic, and boom, here comes Steve.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you have to write his name in all caps all the time.
Yeah.
Like you cannot write it like normally has.
Oh, you're not just Steve,
caps.
it's Steve. Yeah.
Steve.
Every time.
Theo. Yeah.
Aura, I see you lurking there, and I know that you don't mind me calling you out if you are lurking. Lovely to see you again, my friend. Don't see you enough at the moment. And also for Sweet Natura, I noticed that you've been here to the end. Despite the fact that you're in the middle / 3/4, 4/5, whatever, at the end of a campaign, I hope you like the particular brand of chaos that we had today. And don't be a stranger, join us on the Discord. And we'll be talking about this and many other things. Our next game is going to be Numenera on Monday, with the lovely Ed continuing with his colourful depiction of the world of Numenera, which I must admit, I love that world so much. I wish I could run it anywhere near as good as Ed, but every time I think, I want to do some Numenera, it's a player and asking Ed to run it. So, and we are going to be coming back next week, is what we're planning, but it might be the week after, with Excelsior Rising, a Genesis story. And it's a story that was chosen by Hermit and Scornfuse through a list of things that I had that was available. And I wanted a bit of a challenge, so I said, here you go, here's a list, go ham. They chose one, and I just had to get on with it. So it's going to start off very much the Devil Wears Prada, the role-playing game, and things will get increasingly weird from there on in. So I'm hoping that you enjoy it as much as I do. And we keep saying our brand of chaos. This really is going to be chaos. I'm hoping that it all comes together. But hey, let's stretch ourselves and do a little more. And I know that Rodrigo has got a lot of stuff that is brewing at the moment. So looking forward to that as well. And we'll hear more about that in due course when it's ready to start. Until then, have an amazing weekend. Don't be a stranger on the Discord. And we will see you later.
Yeah.
Good night.
Night, everyone.